Hello everybody and welcome to a tutorial on watercolour pencils. So it's a long time, quite a few months since I've made a tutorial. There's quite a few things have happened in my personal life. My mother sadly passed away at the end of April. So yeah, there's been a lot to sort out, a lot to take on board, but I'm back. And I hope that you have a go at this, because I got some really good feedback on it when I posted it. Let me tell you what it's all about. So what I have in front of me is some watercolour pencils. Now these are Supracolors. They are D'Ache. They're top of the range. There's no getting away from it. You do absolutely not need a top of the range pencil to do this at all. All you need is a watercolour pencil. It can be any brand of any value. You really don't need these pencils to do this. I want to impress that on you, that you don't need to spend a lot of money to give this a go. Okay, so this is the piece that I posted probably about 3 weeks ago now, and you were amazing. You said, oh, it's so beautiful, please tell me how you do this, and we'll follow along. So here we are. So I'm just going to move this out the way for a second. I'm going to move the pencils out the way and I'll tell you what I've got out in a moment. Okay, I'll move that away for a second because I want to show you the pencils. And I'm just going to check that you can see them. Yes, you can. So these ones, as I said, they're D'Ache Supracolor. They're 120. If I give you a quick look in the tin without knocking the water over, you can see how beautiful they are. And there's 3 layers of these. But like I say, you do not need a top of the range brand watercolor pencil to try this. I just wanted to show you these because they're so pretty. Okay, right, I'm going to put these down because that's what I'm using, and we'll get the rows back. Okay, so all I've got is 5 watercolor pencils. So I have, I'm just going to check because I set the new studio up, you see, so I'm just checking that where my hands are, you can still see it because I've had to move the boom and everything around. So I'm just double checking. I'm standing up to see that you can see what I'm seeing. Yes, you can. So this one is noir. It's black. It's 009. So this is going from dark to light. Then I have dark Carmine 089. And then I have ruby red, which is 280. Then I have scarlet, which is 070. And then I have vermillion, which is 060. Okay, so like I say, you don't need these exact pencils. All you need in your set of whatever you're using is a black. You need a very deep red, and you need kind of 3 other reds. One a mid, one kind of slightly lighter, and then a kind of orange, so like a poppy red almost. The vermilion has quite a lot of orange in it. Okay, and that's going to be your highlight. Okay, so if you're gonna do this with a different brand of pencils, I would say kind of pick out 5 similar to that in terms of dark to light. The only other piece of kit I've got is my automatic pencil sharpener, because we're going to need to keep pencils very sharp. And I have my trusty egg cup full of water. So let's get started. This is actual watercolour paper. So this is from a proper watercolour colouring book. Okay, so we're going to be using more paint than you've seen me use before because the paper will take it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the technique that I use to create this beautiful rose. And it's not one you'll see very often, to be frank. I'm actually going to be dipping the pencils directly into the water. Okay, so let's start. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start from the centre, and I won't do this whole rose. We're going to be working here. So let me just see that, double check that you can see what I'm doing. Yes, and at this point, I think I will zoom you in a little bit and just move that up so that you can see a little bit better. So think about light and shade. Okay, so think about a rose in 3D terms. The light won't hit the inside of the rose. Think about it like a globe. The light doesn't penetrate right down into the center of the leaves because the petals are so close together. The light will play more on the outside of these petals. And using the dark colours on the inside more than you do on the outside produces that really, really, really rich velvety effect, okay? That's really important that you think about the light and the shadow of how the sunshine would hit this flower. So what we're going to do is we're going to start in the middle and we're going to work our way out gradually. Like I say, I'm not going to do the whole thing. It would take too long. It would take a couple of hours. But you'll get the principle that I'm going to start with the darkest colours in the middle and then gradually get lighter as we go further out, okay? So I just want to see if I put my water there, and let's all pray that I don't knock it over, okay? Because I want you to see how many times I'm dipping my pencil and how long I'm dipping it for. So I have all my pencils in my hand and I'm going to take my black, okay? It's very sharp. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold it vertically and I'm going to dip it in the water and I'm going to leave it for 3 or 4 seconds. Okay, and then all I'm going to do is start applying it directly to the paper. So in exactly the same way as you would colour a rose, i.e. with normal colouring pencils, this is the exact same technique that we're going to use. Okay, so this very centre petal, I'm just going to start off, and it's not quite wet enough, or it probably was wet enough and then I've bleated on a little bit too much. I'm just going to start in the middle with my black, and what you want to do is kind of hold the pencil quite vertically because it helps the water come off the tip of the pencil better, so you'll get a smoother finish. So you're kind of holding it, trying to hold it quite vertically. It might feel odd, but it'll pay dividends. And like I say, you won't see this very much, this particular technique, but I tried it, liked it, so hey, I'll share it, okay? So now I'm going to go to my second deepest colour, which is dark carmine. I'm going to do exactly the same. I'm going to dip it in the water a few seconds, and then when you get the idea of what I'm doing with the water, I will move it out the way in case I knock it over. Okay, and then I'm going to start from this other side, so don't go immediately into the black. Start from this other side. Okay, like that. And then gradually work towards the black, and as soon as it hits it, because the paper's wet, look at that, it's an absolutely wonderful blend. Blended and all done for you. Okay, so now I am going to move this out the way in case I knock it over, but you get what I'm doing with the pencils in the water. And don't be afraid of this discoloration here. Don't be afraid of this discoloration on the wooden barrel, because every time you sharpen it, watch, every time you sharpen it, it disappears. Okay, so don't worry that you're ruining your pencils. These are watercolour pencils. They're made to do this. Okay, they're going to take it. So I'm going to go back to my black, because remember, up until kind of around about here, I'm going to keep to probably my 3 darkest pencils, and I won't use my 2 lightest until we get out of here. So I've got my black. I'm just going to put a little bit there. And like I say, you can see I'm using a lot more water than normal, and that's fine because this is a watercolour book. So just place the deepest colour where you think the least light would hit. Okay? And it is quite an unusual way of using watercolour pencils, but the reason that it appealed to me to try was because I found it quite accurate. So a water brush, sometimes you don't get too much control, even with the smallest of them. And if it's too scratchy, if your pencil tip feels too scratchy when you go to put it on the paper, it's because it's not wet enough, it's not soaked enough. So just put it back in the water until you think that you've got enough. See, I'm not holding my pencil vertically enough there. I just need the water to come off the end of that. And with all watercolours, there we go, that's what I wanted. With all watercolours, do not beat yourself up. They are difficult. They are difficult, okay? Don't beat yourself up about it.
And what I'm actually going to do is my mid red I'm going to put in these gaps here, but I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it yet. I'm going to go to a petal that's further out because these colours are still wet. They just need a minute or two to dry. Because if I put the red in, the mid red in now, it would just become a muddy puddle. Okay, so we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. I think what I might show you is this big petal here because it'll use all 5 colours. So again, if I just point with a brush because I don't want pigment on the paper from the pencil tip. This petal here, just consider it. So clearly, the bottom bit here is the base of the petal. And that is where the least light would strike, okay, at the base. So we're going to start with the black here and work up and up and up and up and up. And then we will have our lightest red here. So if I demonstrate, can you see if, where's a good one? This one. So this petal here, okay, this uses all 5 colours. And I'm just going to check that you can see it. Yes, you can. So this petal here uses all 5 colours. So the black is in the creases. It's in the base of the flower, okay? It's in the base. So it's going to have the least light. Darkest colour, least light, and then gradually work your way out, okay? So I'm going to put this back and make sure it's a decent shot. Yes, it is. Okay, so black. Here we go. So I have several sets of watercolour pencils, and yes, the higher the, you know, the more quality the brand, yes, you get more pigment, but for something like this that you're only using 5 colours for, I really honestly don't think that you need to spend a lot of money. Okay, I'm going to go to our dark Carmine. I must admit it feels strange doing a tutorial with not having done one for a while, listening to my own voice again. Not an easy couple of months. But I've got the new studio set up. When I say studio, it was an unused bedroom. So I used to be in the dining room downstairs, but I was gradually walling myself in with all of my kit. And I'm going to be trying to take up oil painting, so I needed space for my easel, and it wasn't going to fit in the dining room. So the bedroom conversion is done. Okay, now here's the magic. This is where we're going to blend it, okay? Remember, with all watercolours, kind of working out over, okay? Because if you didn't, you'd be pulling the black all over the place, okay? Can you see how lovely that looks already? I wonder if I can zoom you in a little bit more. Let me just see if I can pinch you in a little bit more. There we go. Okay. Now we're going to go to our mid red again, which is the ruby, I think. Yes, it is. And the light is a lot better in here than it was downstairs. So I'm hoping that will pay dividends for you all in actually seeing the having a good light source on the tutorials. So again, I'm just going to, like I would with my Prismacolor pencils, I'm just going to mark out where I want that pigment to stop, trying to keep it vertical so that the water runs off the tip of the pencil. And you can see how accurate you can keep the paint. You can see how accurate that you can be. And like I say, if it feels too scratchy when you put the tip to the paper, it's because it's not wet enough. There we go. That's nice. That's nice and wet. And I have to say, because I'm using quite a lot of water, I would probably say that you don't want to be using these in normal watercolor, in normal colouring books, like, you know, like you've seen me use before, like Joanna Basford and Kirby Rosins. What I would say is you probably need an artist edition version of something. So it's more like cardstock. It's thicker paper, so it doesn't have to be watercolour paper, but it just needs to be thick paper. Otherwise, you're very likely to get bleed through and warping as well. Okay, so we're just going to blend them. We're going to pull the light into the darker shade. And you can scumble, you can use little circles to just meld those two colours together like that. Okay, and I'm just going to go back quickly because I've got a tiny little, I'm going to go back to my dark Carmine. See, when you've got them all in your hand, this is what happens. You end up with artist's hands. Got a tiny little missing bit there. That's better. And because this is still wet, you can go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, just like you could blending with your normal pencils. So it is a tiny bit forgiving. It's difficult, but it's a tiny bit forgiving. Can you see this is starting to dry out again now? So we'll go back to this in a moment. Okay, so I'm going to go to my second lightest colour, which is Scarlet. And remember, this is totally dry, so I'm going to hold it in the water for quite a few seconds. That's a nice colour. And this is the exact same technique for the whole rose, okay? You just need to think about where the light wouldn't play, i.e. where the sunshine wouldn't get to, and start there with your black. And it's the same for the whole rose. If you can get the principle of light and shade right in your head, everything else will be easy, I promise. See how nicely that looks? And then we've got the lightest, which is vermilion. So all I'm doing is using 5 colours, and look at that spectrum of depth that you can get with just 5 colours. And it's accurate because your pencil tip is sharp. It's accurate. You know, you're not going over lines. Well, you're not going over lines very much. We'd all be superhuman if we didn't go over any lines at all, but it's more, I think it's more accurate than a water brush. There we go. Let me see what you can see. Yeah, perfect. Right, okay, now we're going to go back into the centre because that's dry a little bit. And I used my black and my dark Carmine, so I'm going to go to my mid, which is my ruby. I'm just going to fill in. I'm just going to be careful that I don't drag the black too much, but it should be safe, as I say, because I've let it dry a little bit and won't get too much of a muddy puddle. There we go. There we go. And if you have touched the black a little bit, you'll see it on there, so you might want to just give it a rub. I've got a little cloth off shot here. I'm just going to give it a little rub and clean it off so that we don't get black the next time we use this colour. Okay, where should we go to next? I think we'll probably do this little ring here. Okay, so again, I'm going to go to my black. And again, so I'm gonna make a decision and put a shadow there and a shadow on this side. And I'm also going to do the next petal while I've got the black in my hand. So the base of the petal, I've decided I'm going to put my black there. Okay, you just need to think about the shape of each petal as you come to them. Dark Carmine. And And like I say, these very centre petals would be the dark. I know you're probably sick of hearing me say it now, but because these petals are tighter, they're more compact in the middle. Therefore, the less light would get into the bottom. Therefore, they have to be the darkest. And if you can get that light and shade, you will make all sorts of 3D loveliness. It's very peaceful up here. I've got the window open and it's raining ever so slightly. So the noise is very soothing. I don't think you'll be able to hear it, but the noise is very soothing. Mid-red, which is ruby. Got the window open. It smells of a thunderstorm, actually. You know that smell. Is it the nitrogen? I don't know what it is, but you know when you can smell a thunderstorm coming. So I have to say as well, a lot of you, when you listen to my tutorials, a lot of you say, you remind me of Bob Ross, which is the ultimate compliment, really. And I have to say that the easel that I've got for my birthday is a Bob Ross easel. Now, I'm not going to guarantee you any tutorials on oil painting because my fear is that the first ones will end up on a bonfire. But if in time I feel confident, some of you will have seen some of the Kincaid gouache. I just show you quickly. I'm also trying watercolours in Thomas Kincaid. So in the same way as I can't guarantee you any tutorials on the oil painting, you may get one on the gouache. Some of you have been absolutely brilliant. If I just quickly zoom you out, some of you have been absolutely brilliant with feedback on this one. I'll see. This is my very first page, my very first attempt with the gouache opaque watercolours, so I'm trying to get my confidence levels up. But anyway, we digress. Back to the rose. Back to the rose. And what I'll do is, I'll do a couple of more petals, and then I think you'll have probably got the basic technique that you need to crack on. So I'm just going to take this black out slightly, and for this petal I'm going to put my shadow here. Okay, and if you feel that your pencil is getting a little bit blunt and you're losing your accuracy, just sharpen it up. But remember, you'll have dried it out, so you'll need more water on the tip. Like I say, I just tried this out, and I thought it was a good way to do it. So here we are. We're all sharing the scary things of what goes on in my head. That's a bit scratchy, so I'm going to leave it a bit longer. That's better. That's better. And you saw a drop of water come off my pencil. Don't worry about that. This is watercolour paper. It will soak up. Don't panic. Right, okay, I'm going to go to my dark Carmine. There. So you're really just laying down your black where you think the least light would hit and following the map. You hear me say that all the time. Follow the map of the shadow. Okay, I'm going to go to my ruby. And I'm going to show you quite a nice little trick with these as well. because I think we'll just about leave it there for today so it's not too long a video for you. Okay, I'm going to show you a nice little trick. Let me just finish off this particular petal. And I actually sat downstairs on the sofa when I did this one here, the original one. I just sat with it on my knee and it was so relaxing. Scarlet, scarlet, scarlet. There we go. Right, okay. So what I want to show you is, just going to dry that off. Can you see that water from the ruby red has just come in a little bit to this this vermilion colour here, okay? Now I'm going to make sure that my vermilion, so I'm going to take my vermilion pencil and I'm going to just sharpen it up and make sure that it's dry. So I'm using it like a normal pencil now. And I'm just going to blend that out. Because once the paint is dry, you can kind of go back and put dry pencil over the top. Okay? Just need to, there's a little bit of pigment come off the top there, that's better. Okay? And if you feel like you want to dark, so this is dry now, but if you feel like you want to really richen it up, you can just very gently with a dry pencil, with the dry colour, just go over, that's what I wanted to come off, just go over and richen it up. So it's dry underneath, but you can go back to the colour with a dry pencil and just really, really brighten up the colour. Okay, so I think we'll leave it there for today. A bit nervous, I must admit. It's a long time since I've made a tutorial, but hopefully that's been informative. And as always, any questions, drop me a line. Bye for now, guys.